Hello and welcome to another episode in the TerraVentures realm. It's Flying Magpies here, and I'm actually in a copy of the realm, as you can see by the lines on the screen, the red and blue and green lines. These are the chunk boundaries. There's also a slight difference we've made to some of these sidewalks. If I can get myself in first person, there we go. Instead of making these stone slabs, I've decided to change them to andesite, polished andesite slabs, as I think they're just a little bit better. Anyway, so I've put it on the chunk boundaries in a copy of the realm to start work on some of the storage and the crop farms, which will be coming up in the next couple of episodes. You will note that in one of my most recent videos, I outlined a tutorial on crop farms, and I made them chunk aligned. So I'm going to do the same thing in the realm on the TerraVentures world, and so I've had to swap around some of the bits. So over here originally we're going to be crop farms, but if we come over here we can see that it would have to be quite far away from the road, as well as quite far away from this building. I could of course put a road in, but I'm not quite sure about that, so I've decided to make this instead storage, because that does not have to be chunk aligned, at least not the way I build it, or usually build it. And over here I'm going to start the crop farm. So over here there's going to be a little bit empty space. I might put another building over here, small building of course, and of course there'll be the two crop farms. There'll be one here just for crops, and there'll be one over here for crops for specifically made into bone meal, which will be a shorter building. And of course I'm thinking of putting a road somewhere along here at a to be determined location. But what the agenda is for today is starting work on the first storage building. So I'm going to start. Well, firstly I'm going to note down the exact coordinates of the chunk boundaries, so I don't have to go back and forth into the copy of the world when I start building the crop farms the next couple of episodes. But as I said, today's episode is going to be on the storage units, because I have quite a few things I need to store. So I'm going to hop back into the realm itself and get started on that now. And before I do, you may know I've also started putting in this little inlet, I suppose you could call it, with grass, and that is mainly just to give myself a little bit more room. It does mean that parts of it are actually not Mushroom Island. If you have a good enough phone or whatever device you watch this on, you can see there's a ever so slight difference between some of the grass blocks. It's probably more visible from the sky, but some of them are Mushroom Island and some of them are not, so sometimes zombies can spawn. But anyway, back into the TerraVentures realm to get started on the storage systems. I'm currently in a redstone testing world, and I'm currently trying to decide between two different designs of sorting systems. Now, of course, I could go with the classic one that I did in the Season 1 world, which is somewhere around here, I'm sure. It's the hopper design where you can only put one item in each chest, it's a little bit annoying because it means that every single item needs its own chest, and you can't really multi-store, and I can't really find it anywhere. But anyway, the other design is over here, and we'll just come over here, and the beauty of this design is that you can store whatever you like. So you can see here carrots are coming through at the moment. I've dumped a whole stack of carrots, but you could put, say, podzol and villagers spawn eggs if you manage to get those in survival somehow, and you could put them into the same, and the sorting system would just try and fire the items via hopper into here. Now, the advantage of the other system is that it only takes 5 deep, 5 block, 5 block behind the chests, and you can stack them infinitely. Or not, I suppose infinitely, but as many as you want along. However, the disadvantage there is that no matter how high or low you want to have it, the entire line will be one thing. The other disadvantage with the other design is that it also stretches about 5 or 6 blocks higher than the hoppers, so in the multi-story level like I'm planning, the other one is not as good. I can't really find. If I can find it, I'll prove it to you somewhere. No, it's not that one. Here it is. So this is just a basic design. You can see that I've got a 4-block design here, and it stretches to above, but it only needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, and in each thing only needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hoppers for a 4 high design, 1 comparator, 1 repeater, and 3 redstone dust and a torch. So it's a little bit more redstone light, whereas this design over here, if I can find it again, here, requires a lot more, but each line, you can have a separate item for each of these, but once again, the disadvantage, I keep going back and forth on them, but the disadvantage with this one is that if you want to make sure that no other item goes in, you need to make sure that you fill up every single slot with an item, and that could be a problem. So I'm going to mull over this and come back when I've got a decision as to which item I do, and I could even do both. I could even do water powered ones, because that way all I need to do, if I can find this design over here again, is to have just a water thing over here instead of hoppers, and anytime it gets to here and it can go in, it'll go in, and so on and so forth. Once again, and of course this one you need to make sure you need to label the items in here to make sure they don't fall through. And it does require a little bit more maintenance. The one I had in the Season 1 world, it was really, really, really long, and I think it actually got stuck in a few places, so it's not the best design in the world. So again, I'm going to mull over the decision and figure it out. When I figure it out, I'll be back on the realm to start building one design or the other, and I could even use both, but we'll see. There is one thing I forgot to mention, and this design will work for any item, so it doesn't matter if it's a single stacking item or a stackable item, it will fit anything. Of course, the thing there, of course, is that the non-stackable items will just go straight into here. Like you can see the trident went straight in, and so you may have to have a place, level, for instance in my world, where I just have one for non-stackable items, but that can be decided again later. Well, I'm back in the realm, and after a bit of consideration I've decided to go for the bigger design, so the one that I was showing a lot more of, the one that requires the 7 deep or 8 deep footprint. For that I need a lot more droppers, and I've been creating dispensers, which are 2 different things. So I'm going to have to go over to the shopping district, which I think is in this direction, and get myself a whole stack of cobblestone, or a lot of cobblestone, and I believe there is a nice shop at Jumble Bookstore. I guess that's a new bookstore. Anyway, so I'm going to have to go to the shopping district and find a nice shop that sells the cobblestone, and I know there is one of them, and this is a new shop that looks like the new shop that's turned up, but I believe the stone shop is down here, opened by Storms. And so if you're watching this, Storm, I've now bought, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stacks. I don't think I can hold many more, but it's a really nice shop, actually, nice design and all that. Anyway, time to head back to the base and start work on the foundations and the building for the storage units. Now, a large part of the build is the comparators and the repeaters, so I'm going to have to smelt a whole lot of this cobblestone to make it into regular stone, so I can produce all those things that I need. And it's quite a bit of stuff, so, and especially since I intend to make quite a lot of these modules, so it's going to be quite a bit of experience, which I need because I need to also repair all my tools and all that. So a little bit more smelting, and I'm probably going to head back and get some more cobblestone, because I also need quite a few droppers. So I think Storm's going to get quite a bit of profit from me just today. Anyway, so on to the smelting and the buying of stone business. Okay, and after another 8 diamonds spent and quite a bit of redstone used, I've now got, I think that's 82 droppers, so it's probably not going to be nearly enough, but the shop is now completely out of cobble, and I don't really have a lot of spare cobble at my own base, so this is going to have to do. And realistically, I think this is going to be enough for maybe maybe 5 or 6 columns of those storage units, which is still quite a lot of storage space. So anyway, but once again back to the base to work out where I'm going to build this thing. Well, I was needing to gather quite a bit of quartz, and as you can see I've been gathering quartz for about, I don't know, how about half an hour to an hour or so. I'm not really sure, I didn't really time it. So I did make my way to the nether fortress that was found earlier in the season, which I actually didn't document, but I've just been roaming the halls, putting dirt on the left side to show the way in, and I've got quite a bit of quartz. Now I need to make sure not to turn this into quartz blocks, because I need it, as I said, for the quartz itself, for all the comparators that I'm going to need. So I'm going to keep doing this and eventually make my way back home and finally get started on that storage system. I know I keep saying only get started on it, but I keep running against things that I need. So it might be still a little bit of a while before I finally find the time and all the resources to actually begin this thing. Well, just a short time after I've recorded that last clip, I've now come back out of the nether, back at my base where I've got the planned storage area, and I've got, how much is that? That's 19 stacks I think of quartz, so that should be easily more than enough, and it's storming. I probably should sleep. And there we go. So as you can see, I've also planted some trees over here. So I believe this should help supply the wood that I need for all the chests, although it's probably not enough. But now I need to make my way back over to this side of the base, because I've also did some smelting of stone, which I need for the not for the dispensers, for the comparators and repeaters, because I need a lot of those as well for each of the storage system bits. So once again I'm going to wait it out and be back. I think after that it's just about ready to go. I'll need some slabs and some building blocks, but that shouldn't be too hard to get. I'm back in the creative testing world, and I just needed to test a couple of things. Now, firstly, this thing needs to be, if this design is to be repeated a few times, you need to have these two the modules, I think it's 3 blocks, at least 1 block apart, so there'll be, let's say, something going all the way up and above it, if I can just create that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do exactly this, but we'll see how it goes. So it'll be like that. Then you have a 1 block gap. Let's say we'll just put that 1 block back here, and then you have your barrier, your opening thing on the other side. So something like that is what it's going to look like. Now what I'm thinking is that I should be able to squeeze in, if I do this carefully, I may be able to squeeze in a segment to allow me to go up between levels. So if I have, say, some chests here, 1, 2, 1, 2, the soul sand there, for instance. No, sorry, we need barrier, soul sand, barrier, and then chest, 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 and so on and so forth. So I want to work out how I'm going to do this design. Now, do that. If we were to go 2 on each side, so barrier, soul sand, lift, barrier, chest, chest again, barrier, and then barrier here, chest, 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 barrier, soul sand, barrier, chest, 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 chest. So now, how does that look? Oh, is that right? No, it's not right. I really don't know what I'm doing here, do I? Anyway, so chest, 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 barrier, soul sand, barrier, get rid of all that, chest, 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 barrier. So if we have that, that's a rather large room, but it does enable me to go into here, and it also means I can put a, an item frame here with, say, the item in there. Now the next question is, how high can I reach? Let's go 4, 5. Let's see how we go with 5. Yeah, I'll have a try at 6. Yeah, I don't think 6 is as good, so I think we'll try 5, which means we still need to go 4 blocks down and 6 blocks high. But 5, that should allow me to have quite a lot of storage space just on this level, and then if I have another 2 to 3 levels, let's say there, so actually we'll go 3 in between, and then we'll use the grass blocks to indicate the chests. 1, 2, 3, 3, and then grass again. So already, if we're starting at 3, at 4, this is already looking like a pretty tall building. And I think that's going to allow me to have plenty and plenty of storage space. And even then I could go for a 4th one, but that's probably a bit too many. But we'll see how we go. So now that I've got this basic layout in the realm, in the creative testing world all sorted, it's time to actually build this in the realm for the first time. Time to start laying the chest, time to start laying the redstone, time to actually start putting this thing together, and hopefully it'll be functional by the end of this episode. Now, we do need to be very careful as to where we lay this out, because it needs to have 7 blocks back into the side, back to have the redstone components, and then it needs to have maybe 1 or 2 blocks extra for the walls that I'm going to build up. So if we put the wall here, for instance, let's put a block in there to indicate that. If we have a wall here, that means we need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's the interior wall there. Now, unfortunately, I've got that thing there, so let us start. So we want to have this thing's going to have to go. But anyway, if we go like this, then we have our block. So 1, 2, 3, block. Here we go. So anyway, it's quite a bit of more work. So 1, 2, 3, block, chest, block, chest, block. Wait a minute, that didn't work. Anyway, it's quite. Anyway, I'll fix this up. I'll start building it, and I'll do a couple of progress updates when I'm partway through them, just to show you how I'm going along. Alright, and I'm back, and I've actually been doing a little bit more thinking and testing actually, and it turns out that the model I'm using isn't quite perhaps the best model, and actually slightly destroyed my model in the creative testing world, and I couldn't actually find the video which teaches the tutorial, so I'm having to change to a different design, and I'm planning to use Silent Whisperer's design. I'm going to link his video in the description somewhere, but unfortunately it does require me to have 13, I think it is, blocks at the back, lowered by a couple of blocks. So if I was going to have just the chests here, the front of the building is going to stretch from this sandstone block, this soul sand block over here to that soul sand block over there, and it's quite a big thing. It's probably not the best design to use. What I'm thinking of doing is just having a half design. So it would just be one line on this side, and maybe instead of having 2 modules, I might have 3 or 4, so it'll be a rather deep building, but the front will be the same. That is one option. The other option is I just go with this and have a rather large building out here. And yes, the other thing is that since the model does go 4 deep, the buildings will be quite a bit taller than I thought, because if I am going to have more than one story, it does mean that the upper stories are going to have quite a bit more, and need quite a bit more room in order to actually have their redstone functionality, and so it doesn't interfere with this bottom bit. So quite a bit more work to do, as well as getting one more thing that I need now, which is a observer block. So once again, time to get those blocks, time to think about which one I'm doing, and actually start building. And I promise you, this time, the next video you'll see will have some working modules. And here we go. Finally, I've managed to finish building up these storage system bits. That all the redstone's in place, all the bits are fully working, although I still need to stock up on putting the items into the chest itself, because as I think I mentioned earlier, how this thing works is that you need to have an item in every single chest, every single place in the chest. So what I might do is start doing that, filling the items up, and start powering some things through this sorting system. So this one can be fully dirt, and then I can have grass and mycelium and other things through there. But I'm going to do that off camera because unfortunately I've run out of time for things. So if you have liked this episode, remember to leave a like and subscribe, and don't forget to keep watching out for the next one. Goodbye.